No Bigfooters or Sasquatch were harmed during the filming of this video. Just their pride.
I am C. Wayne Wilson.
Oh no, it ain't that again. Oh no.
It's time for Off the Rictor, because Bigfoot is real.
Hey my little Squatch monsters, it's time to shake up the Bigfoot community. This is Off the Rictor.
It is not easy to constantly produce Bigfoot stuff.
Because I'm gonna film one today for you, I think. Maybe not physically like as we know it, but like where you could see it really good.
Oh boy, here we go. Make sure your seats are raised and tray tables locked in the upright position. This is a show where I roast Bigfoot attention whores and hoaxers and Bigfoot superstars. Like me.
Bigfoot is like cancer, in my opinion.
Did she just say Bigfoot's like cancer? Oh, honey. Bless her heart.
No. Bigfoot is not like cancer at all.
He looked like a Neanderthal man with a lot of hair. About 800 pounds. Massive.
God! Is everyone in Bigfooting a hoaxer?
Yes.
You want your Bigfoot video to be seen? Now's your chance.
You know, believe what you want. Believe what you want, run with it. Find your evidence, get what you're doing. Just don't be a dick.
Oh, you haven't seen nothing yet.
Bad.
Let's be honest here, guys. I refuse to believe in Bigfoot.
So, Rictor, I have no doubts about your sincerity on this matter whatsoever. But I gotta tell you, my friend, a lot of people watching this, seeing the obviously disdain you have for the man, may think you have something, a grudge to grind.
No question.
Yep.
I don't lie. I don't hold things back. I'm probably the most honest person you've ever watched on YouTube.
Straightforward, he is.
The truth with Sasquatch lies with the Native Americans, and it's my job to point out the Bigfoot bullshit.
My name is Rictor Rollo, and this is why I'm the best Bigfoot hunter in the world. Maybe Bigfoot's gay. Who knows?
I'm your legacy. I exist because of you. I'm drugged up like crazy. I'm drugged up right now. I'm hiding everything, and I'm a hoaxer, and I got caught, and I'm embarrassed.
I have what I think is equivalent to a bachelor's degree in tracking and sign.
Bigfoot is like cancer, in my opinion.
Positivity, the going forward, unity. I mean, I know we can't all be pals. We can't. It's impossible.
I hate to make these videos because I don't like to ask for money. I really appreciate any help you guys can give me, even if it's a one-time thing.
I can just tell you, everybody, straight up, my brain, as soon as I hear science, my brain goes instantly to F science.
Those are the facts.
The next week should be interesting to everybody. Pay special attention to what happens in Washington. Who knows? And that brings in January 6th.
They announce their presence just about everywhere, if we have eyes to see and ears to hear.
Hey Scott, you're the biggest loser.
Привет всем. That means greetings to all. Вот David Paulides, он как раз.
So what I'm trying to do with the forest flare and my research and my podcast.
What the hell is that hot cross-eyed mess?
Mr. Furley, couldn't you come back later?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you had company.
Mike
Patterson.
He is a hoaxer.
but I've had physical contact many times too.
When I started Off the Rictor in 2015, it was in response to the hate I received by Bigfoot researchers who made blog talk radio shows, who hated me because I was cast on a Bigfoot reality show that they all tried out for and would have killed to have been on, who hated me for being an openly gay man who made pink plaster casts that made a mockery of their so-called important research.
Dax and Richter.
Well, that foot cast they got, not gonna cut it.
Fun story, nothing.
Right. Exactly.
Believe it or not, I didn't have thick skin like I do now. And I was confused as to why people wanted me to die of AIDS or have a copperhead snake be thrown into my tent. Online, they called me a faggot. It scared me. What did I do wrong? I existed.
Wow, what in the world, I mean, just really, what in the world made you, I mean, what did Richter have that made him even interested? Because I've yet to find anything interesting about him other than that he's just a flaming homo. And he can't.
He's an asshole.
So I created a show like Tosh.0 or Willem's Beatdown, a show where I could call out these people on a fundamental level that they've never experienced by showing you, the viewer, their content and using their words against them. It was a success. Off the Rictor was more well received than my interview webcast called After Hours.
Welcome to After Hours. My name is Richter. I am your host.
Richter! What? Leave him alone! It's Judgment Day for Sasquatch.
Thanks for dropping me like a stud.
Now we got Richter going. We're gonna have to hear about it all night. That's a bunch of screaming memes out there, and that's the scoop that has been reported so far.
By your opinion that you are no-kill, you are dooming the species to be extinct.
Well, when you don't believe in Bigfoot, everything you see that might be one is something else.
We thought that we had the holy grail of DNA.
When are we going to make a video, Richter? And I mean not an X-rated one.
Dr. Todd, you've also been called the scoff dick.
Yeah, well.
You can't talk about
I can't!
Hello? Is this thing on? Am I muted? Can you hear me?
Hey, Richter, I've got a question for you. How does it feel to lose Bigfoot bounty?
My question is, why do you think Bigfoot is real?
People told me I was doing a service to the Bigfoot research community by showing you who the real hoaxers were. Even the late Dr. John Bindernagel loved Off the Rictor and encouraged me to keep going. In fact, if he were alive today and asked me to keep doing this show, I probably would. But he's not.
Dr. Bindernagel,
why are you here?
Two reasons. Partly for people like you that are looking for informed scientific comment, which I think I can provide, but almost and more importantly for me to be affirmed in what I'm doing, and that I continue to work as a scientist in Sasquatch research, and I do not get that affirmation except at conferences like this.
And sadly, like with anything else over time, things change. I learned that Bigfoot hoaxers really weren't the real problem. It was the researchers, grifters, and charlatans, big and small, that plague the research community. Everyone rallied against Rick Dyer because he was a hoaxer, yet he was, and still is, the only one in Bigfoot to come forward as a hoaxer. Even a broken clock is right twice a day. They also all rallied against him because he was getting attention and they weren't.
In 2008,
I hoaxed, and the tour, I hoaxed, and I admit that. But the thing is, I am the only person ever to admit to hoaxing in the Bigfoot community. Don't you think that's strange, folks?
And I hate to say this, even though Rick Dyer is an open liar, cheater, and con artist, he still is the most authentic man in Bigfoot, because you know what you're getting with him. And in that regard, and only in that regard, Dyer has more integrity than any Bigfoot media personality in front of the camera. He's more authentic than Steve Kulls, the so-called Squatch Detective. But we'll get to that. Ta-da! And now, in 2022, 10 years after I entered the Bigfoot world, I realized what Bigfoot is truly about. Money. It's a big sham. Bigfoot is big business. Give me your money and I will tell you it's real. I will tell you what you want to hear. Just subscribe to my channel. Buy my book. I'm doing this for you because you are important. Be an investor in my museum and I'll give you a private hour of my time. Bigfoot is real because I say it is.
I know they exist.
You know he exists, and they exist. There's more than one Bigfoot.
Anybody who comes out in the field with me realizes in a very big hurry that this is the real deal. Real Bigfoot, real deal.
And so if you go to my website, you can find out what I've got going. You can find my books on Amazon, barnesandnoble.com, places like that.
And have we found Sasquatches before? Yes, we have.
In the meantime, if you actually care and this discovery is really important to you, you can go to my Patreon page, Todd Standing Patreon, or you can go to my website, discoveringbigfoot.org, and make a donation, because I am a full-time Sasquatch researcher.
And the recent pandemic made that more clear than ever. People's lives were expendable. Propaganda and Bigfoot rhetoric was paramount over a person's well-being. No one wants Bigfoot to be more real than me. If only I could will it into existence. Steve Isdahl, the Canadian Mountie fluffer, once said something that really brought it home for me.
There's been people, a generation, what's there been 2 generations of people doing this, chasing their tails in circles on this topic, doing the exact same things, coming up with the exact same answers, and dying without the big answer they're all looking for. It's time to cut loose and break free of that damn repetitive sequence of nowhere leading events.
He was right. I don't want to spend my one guaranteed life searching for something that doesn't exist. It was fun in the beginning, but as you get closer to the truth and see what it's all about, it becomes a living nightmare. It's like peeling off the layers of an onion only to find a piece of shit at the center. I don't regret being involved in Bigfoot and being a sounding board. I do, however, regret not vetting people better. Every year, a new personality, a new dark horse would come into my life and use me for my skills as an artist or videographer.
That's not right.
Okay, everybody, here's part 2 of our Bob Gimlin discussion on Face Off. My name is Richter Riolo, and this is Russ Acord with the International Bigfoot Conference. And he's Bob Gimlin's handler.
Don't do that, people. Don't do that.
Just to elevate their self-made status in a make-believe community that has no checks and balances.
Oh, you're Rick Guy. How are
Hey,
you?
how you doing?
Oh, can I have your autograph?
Absolutely.
Right here?
Mom, what are you doing? He's a hoaxer. You don't want his
do.
autograph.
Yes, I do. How much money have you made?
I made a lot of money.
Oh, really?
Really?
Oh, okay, Rick. You can learn a wee bit from him so you could know. You don't think so?
Oh, God. I introduced my mom to these people in the final days of her life, most of them. She even told Ed Brown, on her deathbed pretty much, to keep an eye on me after she was gone. She knew she was going to go. And I have to carry that regret with me for the rest of my life. These people were never my fucking friends. You can be a new self-made character with no one knowing who you really are. A drug addict who beats up women, or another two-timing drug addict, pill-popping idiot that was on a successful Bigfoot television show for years. Or how about a deadbeat dad from the state of Ohio who for decades never paid back child support. Or a person using Bigfoot as a way to hook up with his girlfriends while his wife stays at home in her cabin. That's no bueno. And you want us to think you are a person of character? You, who have lived and still live a life full of secrets and betrayal? A person of character doesn't cheat on his wife with a woman located at every national Bigfoot conference, even the one in Arkansas.
See, a woman is putting on makeup in Richter's hotel room.
Dun, dun, dun.
Sorry to get distracted, guys. This is all going somewhere, I promise. With who the Hall of Shame winner is, Steve Kulls should be worried about now. Let's keep going. With me, my experience with these researchers started with a Bigfoot field reporter back in Ohio in 2011. Then it was the hoaxers that took notice of me, and then the drug addicts and alcoholics, they all played me like a fiddle. They were all sociopathic, and they didn't care who they hurt as long as they got what they wanted. The worst one to ever do this, the biggest sociopath of them all, the narcissist that makes Matt Moneymaker look like child's play, was Russell Victor Accord.
Boards or some sort of imaging. We have filmed a thing called a float that's like a big manta ray. We've noticed when we take pictures of orbs, many of them have...
Russell Accord is smart, to a point. You see, I am the stupid one. I am flat out perpetually dumb. He saw me coming a mile away. I have been taken advantage of way too many times to the point where I even questioned my own self-worth. From my best friend being a drug addict and his alcoholic wife stealing from me, to Russell constantly lying and using me, playing me for a fool, which I was. And I considered him a big brother.
Here's a way I was a narcissist. I would go out in society and convince myself that I was somebody. I would make up stories on how good I was in everything. And then I'd come home with that cockiness. And I'd take it out on my wife. I thought I was the best in the world. I thought I was the best thing that she could have. I thought I was somebody. And all that is insecurities. It's me covering up my failures. It's me making up things.
Narcissists have secret lives. They lie effortlessly. They are two-faced, appearing with a perfect public image that most people believe.
A great part of my problem while growing up was I never had straight men wanting to be friends with me because I was gay. Then I come into the Bigfoot world and suddenly I get all these new friendships without really getting to know them. I opened, armed, and accepted everybody. Mistake number one. They weren't friending me out of their good graces. They wanted my skills. Some even friended me so I wouldn't expose them on this show or draw them getting corked by Bigfoot like I did to the Canadian Mountie fluffer, Steve Isdahl, or the great Matt Moneymaker taking one for the team. Let me ask you this. Who have I ever taken advantage of in Bigfoot? Friends don't throw each other under the bus over something as trivial as Bigfoot, or have dinner with them one night and then trash them in their Facebook group, or use their friends, me, to go after their Bigfoot enemies while lying to me repeatedly. Bigfoot is a joke, and so am I. You see, in being Russell Accord's little bitch, I knew what he was planning to do with Bob Gimlin's legacy after Bob and his wife Judy pass away. And I kept quiet about it publicly. I, of course, told everyone that I knew in Bigfoot that I held up in high regard, from Kathy Strain to Ron Moorhead, to Amy Boo in Ohio, to Derek Randalls from the Olympic Project. I even told Steve Kulls, the Uncle Fester's Squatch Detective, who corroborated the same very thing that Russell told him, who later retracted. Kulls was mad that I outed him publicly on this. And you're the Squatch Detective. Aren't you supposed to be all about the truth and outing hoaxers? That's your gimmick, right? And sadly, that's all Bigfoot is. A gimmick.
If somebody comes up to me and says, well, that was fake, I'll just say, well, so be it. You know, if you can prove it, then prove it. I rode across the creek on my horse and just sat over there. The creature makes a turn, slight turn with his shoulders and kind of looks back. That's when I rode across the creek on the horse. That's when it made that gesture. You see her make that famous turn like that to look at me when I got off the horse. You know, you got to be careful when you make statements, because then they hold you to it all the rest of your life.
It's interesting how Mr. Gimlin changes his story for a short 59-second film. It's also interesting how Mr. Gimlin gets defensive and complains about being held accountable for his changing statements. How could I explain this so that someone like David Paulides could understand? You can say whatever you want because it conveniently happened off camera. Either Gimlin crossed the creek and Bigfoot looked, or Gimlin got off his horse and Bigfoot looked, or Gimlin gave Roger a reach around and Bigfoot looked. For all we know, Bob Gimlin could have been the one filming the hoax, not Roger. We have no photographic evidence to back up any of the production. Convenient. No celebratory photos were taken afterward. You'd think they'd be popping off champagne bottles, right? All you have in Bigfoot is your word. Hoaxers don't recall exact details. Justin Smea changed his story about how he killed a baby Bigfoot.
Coughing up the last bit of blood, and a bunch of stuff happened, but I mean, it ended up, 2 or 3 minutes later, it ended up expiring.
We saw something, so I shot it, and we look over and we see 2 little ones, maybe about yay high. So I shot it in the neck. Didn't die right away, but it died. I choked it to death.
And then Wes Germer from Sasquatch Chronicles was caught with his pants down, with there being no moon out that night during his frightening encounter in 2012. So he then blamed it on a solar flare that lit up the forest. Wow. That's reaching. That's embarrassing. I don't know what's worse, the made-up Bigfoot ambush on Road 4207, or the fact that Wes Germer thinks his audience is that stupid. Who am I kidding? Of course they are. Wes Germer couldn't even get the mountains right.
On a Blog Talk radio show in 2012, Wes Germer stated it actually happened on Yakult Mountain. In 2015, on his own show, episode 87, Wes Germer gave out the wrong coordinates for a different mountain, which was Jack Mountain. At this point, it might as well be Brokeback Mountain, which is more believable.
The reason why this happens is because hoaxers make shit up as they go along. It's all stories, nothing more. And stories can change very easily, even on the telephone. Steve Kulls called me and asked me to accept a changed narrative, a changed story, by calling me and saying,
"What if I could get Russell to say he was being coy, and then it was all just a big misunderstanding?"
That's still dishonesty. And by all accounts, Steve Kulls should be the winner of this year's Hall of Shame for being such a double-dealing namby-pamby, for being bought, for playing Bigfoot politics, for playing a part at the cost of truth and integrity. Rick Dyer and Steve Kulls are the same person. One is a used car salesman, and the other a Kmart loss and prevention security guard. Let that sink in. Bigfoot is a place where grown men and women can escape the failures of their life and be something more. You will circle the wagons around Bob Gimlin, but leave Bob Hieronymus out in the cold. Why? Because you like Bob Gimlin, and you make exceptions for people that you like. He reinforces your already built-in beliefs.
But you know what? The biggest hoaxer of them all, and I look up to this guy. I got a picture of this guy hanging in my home. Who is it? Who's the greatest hoaxer in the world? Y'all know it? Bob Gimlin. He is the absolute greatest hoaxer in the world.
How about this strange concept? You can like everyone in Bigfoot because the lines between researcher and hoaxer are blurred. How can I point the finger and say that they're wrong when I'm just as wrong? When Russell Accord told me he was going to film Bob Gimlin and Bob Hieronymus together for a scandalous documentary, and that he wanted to get his hands on the Roger Patterson suit, how could I sit back on a secret that the Patterson film was truly a hoax? And by keeping quiet about it, I was part of the problem. I was complicit. I was just as much of a fraud as Steve Kulls was. And then this second time I talked to Russell about the documentary, he said Gimlin didn't want to be filmed with Bob Hieronymus at the last minute, and that this would all be released after Bob and Judy Gimlin have passed away due to the fear of retribution to their property. Think of Russell Accord as Donald Trump and me being Sean Hannity. I became mean. I became a bully. I lost sight of what this show was about. Remember, my little Squatch monsters, you're only as good as the company you keep.
I'm not on government food stamps. I'm not on welfare. How dare he accuse me of this? This is slanderous. Ah!
My show was no longer about Bigfoot entertainment or enlightenment. It was used as a tool.
Give them a little time, they'll pop their head up.
There's a Facebook troll over there.
I refuse to condone Bigfoot opportunists ever again, who suppress the truth and perpetuate their own selfish, ego-driven agendas, especially while they're fornicating behind their wives' backs. All of them. Let's just say what happens at the Meadowline Falls Bigfoot Conference doesn't stay at the Meadowline Falls Bigfoot Conference.
Oh, yeah.
It's out of control adultery, even if it happens on a TV show. And they all celebrate it and give each other a high five. Because Bigfoot is the boys' club. Bigfoot is all about scoring with chicks behind your wife's back. And some women are guilty of this too.
A
It's pretty creepy.
When you're cheating, you're lying, and you want us to take your Bigfoot story seriously, or your make-believe research, you're a fraud. What would Judy think of this? The question is, which Judy? When it comes to research, all you have is your word. And if your word is shit, your so-called evidence has no ground to stand on. You have no credibility. There's no viable evidence, only opinions. You need to be squeaky clean like Kathy Strain or like the late Dr. Bindernagel was. You have to walk the walk and talk the talk. Stop making exceptions for people that you like in hopes that maybe they can get you on a Bigfoot TV show.
Where are your shoes? I don't need any stinking shoes. Hi, I'm Richter. I'm Donnie, Richter. Yeah, so this is your son. I'm just meeting your son. So you're hunters. Yes, indeed.
It doesn't matter if you served as a bad cop, a child psychologist, an Army Ranger, a glorified loss and prevention security guard for Kmart, or an engineer for the National Guard. They are all misusing their positions and authority to give false credibility. Bigfoot hoaxers and these false researchers are all the same under this category. In my opinion, they're all liars, and some don't even realize that they're lying. Many of the corrupt researchers are cut from the same cloth as hoaxers. Desperate opportunists. They have failed in life and are trying to be successful at anything, no matter the cost, even in the absurd world of Bigfoot, without addressing the real problem. Because that takes work. It's escapism. This next clip shows you an example of escapism and the level of maturity, the bad behavior everyone exhibits toward each other in the world of Bigfoot.
So when a person believes that they're not lovable, does it make sense that they would try to escape those bad feelings that they would have believing that? Right? You take out that hatred towards yourself and call other people names and you get angry at other people around you. But the anger is really about who, really? Me.
Escapism is a tool that many of us use, but may not be aware that we're doing it. It's a subconscious desire to exist somewhere else, to live in a reality other than our own. That's not to say that we always hate or dislike the life that we have, but sometimes we just need to escape it. But Zach, isn't that just running away?
One friend said to me, just because someone poops in the pool doesn't mean everyone is shitting in the water. Well, eventually the water turns brown and it's not fun anymore and I want no part of it. There's a saying that one bad apple spoils the bunch. Well, imagine an entire barrel full of bad apples. That's Bigfoot. Please don't think of me as a martyr. I'm not. I'm just tired of wanting to know the truth about Bigfoot only to repeatedly find out that this is the truth. Everyone, at least 9 out of 10 in front of the camera and speaking at conferences and writing books are lying. They're all charlatans, every one of them. So how are they all the same as hoaxers? They keep the legend of Bigfoot alive for their own financial gain, even at the cost of your own well-being. It's human-driven and has never been about the mystery of what is or isn't in the woods. The truth with Sasquatch lies with the Native Americans, still to this day, and it will continue to belong to the indigenous people long after we're gone. And thus, the Off the Rictor Hall of Shame Award for the biggest loser in Sasquatch research is me. Because I never learned how to lie, since lying is what Bigfoot is all about. Steve Kulls had the opportunity to make the biggest impact on Bigfoot in the last 50 years, and he chose to play a role, and I didn't. It was a game to him. That's what Bigfoot is, right? A place for failed adults to participate in bad behavior. That's Bigfoot. I guarantee it. What I didn't see about the world of Bigfoot is that Bigfoot is a poor man's version of WWE that you can actually participate in and make chump money. And by calling out these hoaxers and liars, it should be the first and most important step to the process of getting closer to what Bigfoot is all about. Until they are all shown for what they are, there's no way to trust the data coming in. And I have paid the price for it. No good deed goes unpunished. No one likes to hear the truth. It's not warm, and it makes us all feel uncomfortable. You are only valuable as long as you share everyone's common beliefs. Remember that. And for those of you that still believe in these Bigfoot celebrities, these false prophets, what are you lacking in your life that these assholes are somehow giving you meaning? Think about this. What are their real day jobs? You may say, that doesn't matter, Rictor. It's all about the research. When in fact, it does matter because it tells you where they're coming from. I was a waiter. Since when does a waiter, forgetting about your side of ranch, carry any weight in mythical monster research? And if you think there is something truly out in the woods, that's a giant hairy ape that defies science, teleports, mind speaks, has superpowers, and leaves footprints that only these researchers will conveniently find? Just think. You look like a flat earther to the rest of the world. You need a straitjacket. I can truly say I have learned a lot in being a part of the subgroup of our culture. I learned about human behavior, psychology, motivations, and human nature. I learned it the hard way. Earlier I asked, what's the real problem with the Bigfoot community? The Bigfoot community attracts broken people and others who are deeply wounded. It's a belief system that is reinforced by its members. It's also a war of personal beliefs, nothing more, where shysters and grifters seize the opportunity to take control of the sandbox. They create annual conferences to make money off of good people like you who are searching for meaning with their lives. Just look at the amount of Bigfoot conferences that took place during the pandemic with nothing new being brought forth to the table. It's all about money, even at the expense of your safety. But not everything has been an absolute dread while being associated with Bigfoot. I have met some amazing people that I love and will take with me on my next adventure. Even the ones that have turned their backs on me for not sharing their political views. I miss Tammy Murray.
Okay, this is the goodbye video for Tammy. She's leaving me. Don't cry. All right, she's the best co-host anybody could ever have.
Thank you, sweetie. I love you.
Oh, I love you too. All right, see you, John.
And I miss Johnny Manson. Friendships have been made that you just can't get anywhere else with like-minded people who share the same absurd excitement and enthusiasm for the impossible. Who you trust and know their heart. Who try to warn you about the evil of others and forgive you for not listening to their sage advice. Though my truth in Bigfoot may be different from theirs, I won't judge them for not following my path. I may laugh at them a little. However, I realize my objectivity for Bigfoot being real is pulverized. But it doesn't have to be the same for you. If you believe you saw Bigfoot, and perhaps you did, why are you demanding everyone to believe you? Why does that matter? With this comedy series, I hope I made you laugh and think about what is real and what isn't. I hope you come away from it questioning these people and their motives. They're in it for themselves, at your expense. It's not philanthropy. For example, the BFRO is not a non-profit profit. It exists only for your money and Matt Moneymaker's pocketbook. If I made you mad, think about why I made you mad. And if I could give you all just a small little bit of advice, it would be what Cliff Barrickman once gave me almost 11 years ago. Be your own person. Be rogue. Don't join a group. And don't join the BFRO. I appreciate each and every one of you, my little Squatch monsters.
Hey Bart, I really miss you, man.
And you're missing out on the best blowjob you ever had.
Both of us, San Francisco.
I hope you find your truth with Bigfoot, whatever it may be. And to my friends in Bigfoot that still wish to be associated with me, I give my love and thanks to everyone I have come into contact with. The good and the bad. You have all made me better at what I do.
Shit. God, this shit is cold.
Wait. Hold this video. Are you trying to tell me that these Bigfooters went on a hike down to Bluff Creek, but they didn't have any water, food, they weren't even wearing hiking shoes, they didn't have bear spray, no cell coverage, no GPS, and one of their cars ran out of gas? What are we dealing with here? Tourists?
I wish you well. And thanks for watching and letting me entertain you for the past few years. Stop looking for Bigfoot and maybe instead go find yourself. Good night. Off the Rictor was more well received than my... That's on Steve. I hate that dog. Shut up! Except me, because I'm absolutely perfect. Was that a Bigfoot? Forget Bart Catino. Hello, David Paulides. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. Here's my handle and here's my spout. When I get all written. And for those of you watching and can well, hello, my little Squatch monsters. Welcome to the Off the Rictor Halloween special? No, holiday special. Take two. I'm gonna do that paragraph again. He created the Bigfoot Field Research Organization. Research? Oh my God! Ah! Welcome to Off the Rictor. So, like, yeah. The only thing that's gonna be is in the green. Somebody, hold my beer. I'll just go like that. Go like that. Hold my beer.
Which shade?
I think that was probably the best one. What do you think? Okay. It's time I read you a Christmas... I forgot my words. Rictor, you have a tiny pecker. It's only 7 inches, shit. Okay, so our first video is by Dr. Matthew Johnson, of course. Oh. And no scientist took her work seriously. Did you hear that, my little Squatch monsters? He thinks I'm dangerous and a criminal. Well, how's this for free thought? And now, my little Squatch monsters, it's that time of the week. That time of the week? Sounds like a menstrual cycle. Then we had Tony Merkel from Pennsylvania Jerkoff Squatch, or whatever he's, Pennsylvania, I don't know, what's he from? Shit. I haven't seen his video yet. I should probably watch it. That was good. I'm happy with that.